All right, so we have opened Pitch In. We have one layer, and I'm going to add text to this. I'm going to grab the text tool, which is T, and there are two types of type. One is just clicking. This is called point text, where you just type out a title. This is a title. You know about how long it's going to be. I'm going to go back up, select the Move tool, which will allow me to move it around. If I want to change the font, color, tracking, kerning, any of those options, I need to select it by double-clicking this T in the Layers panel. I'm going to go up to my window and grab my Character panel. Oops, sorry, my Character panel. And let's take a look. The font is Pants Patrol. Let's find something equally as, this is the title. Awesome. I'm going to pick a normal font. I know, because I want to show you some of your options. Optima. Optima, you have different choices within the font family. You can do italic, bold, italic and bold, extra black. So this is the font, and these are your options within that family. This is the size. You can use some of the presets. You can type in this window, or, and this is my favorite because I don't know, oh, it's going to be 110. If you put the cursor over these two T's in the Character panel, you'll see that, see how the cursor turns into a double headed arrow? You can scrub until you get exactly what you want. All right, that's one of my favorite tricks because again, I can never say, oh, it's 114, dead on. But if I move the mouse over these two T's, the cursor will change. You can see there's an arrow on each end, which allows me to scrub. If I want to change the space between letters, that's called tracking, I can do that right here. Let's say pick 100, and you'll see that it changed the space between all of the letters the same. Double click to select again. You also have kerning, which is changing the space between two letters, and we'll talk more about that later. So we have font size, kerning, which is the space between two letters. So if I select these two letters, I can go to optical, and it just makes the slightest bit of change. 9 out of 10 times I just leave it on metrics, but if something looks funny, if the two letters look funny next to each other, then you can always play with kerning. This is your tracking, and this is your leading, or the space between lines. You have your horizontal scale and your vertical scale. I typically leave those alone, and then you have options for fake bold, fake italic, and a couple others. And if at any point you're like, hey, what does that do? Just mouse over, and it will tell you. I'm going to turn that layer off, go online for a second, pull up the New York Times, because I want a big chunk of, geez Louise, let's get a good article here. Go to the movies. I'm going to grab a big chunk of text. Command C. Now, if I just grab the text tool in Photoshop and click, all of that is going to be in one line. It's just a ton of stuff. So we're going to need to make that smaller. But you can see that's not great. I don't want to go through that and have to hit return and return and return, right, to size it. That will drive you to drink. So let's delete that. Grab the type tool and draw a paragraph using the cursor, and you'll get this little bounding box, and when you hit Command V, the text will go inside that box. And then you can resize it accordingly, and if you want to change the leading at this point, you can, and you can see how that works. Sometimes I use it for effect. This looks kind of confusing and anxiety-provoking, which may be an effect you want, but is a terrible idea if you're trying to get information across because it's sort of unreadable. You can make the number much higher to get a very big cushion between the lines, or smaller for more of a graphic effect, or auto, which will keep it so it's readable. So this is paragraph type, and this is title type.